Good afternoon. My name is Dan Scripps, Chair of the Michigan Public Service Commission. I call this meeting of the Commission to order on March 21st, 2025 at 1:00. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chair Scripps.
Present.
Chair Tick.
Present.
Mary Ann.
Present.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Got extras, in fact. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Today's meeting is being held in person at the Commission's office at 7109 West Saginaw Highway in Lansing. We are also hosting this meeting remotely using Microsoft Teams. Telephone relay service is also available through the phone option. If you are participating via Microsoft Teams, you may also turn on the live captions by clicking on the More button at the top right of your Teams window, then clicking on Language and Speech from the drop-down menu, and finally clicking on Turn on Live Captions. As indicated in the notice for today's meeting, if we lose the remote connection, the Commission will not recess. The meeting will, however, be recorded and available for future reference on the Commission's website. In addition, the Commissioners can receive comments via lara-mpsc-commissioners@michigan.gov, and for reference, this email is also included in today's meeting notice. We'll, of course, have an opportunity for the public to make comments as provided in the agenda. A few notes about this. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and 1 per person. If you would like to make verbal comments, you must do so in person or remotely through Microsoft Teams or by calling into the meeting by phone. For individuals attending in person and who want to make a verbal comment, please fill out a comment card. They are available at the front table near the podium. For individuals participating remotely by Microsoft Teams and who want to make a verbal comment, you may click on the raise hand button at any time to be queued up for comment. For individuals participating remotely by phone and who want to make a verbal comment, you may press *5 at any time to be queued up for comment. Those public commenters in both Microsoft Teams and on the phone are added to the same speaker queue, be called upon in the order that they enter the speaker queue, so please do not lower your hand or press *5 again, or you'll be removed from the queue and lose your place in line. Finally, to minimize disruptions, attendees participating by Microsoft Teams or by phone will be muted until we reach the time for public comment. We do not have a mute feature in the meeting room itself, however. The first order of business is approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
I move for the approval of the agenda for today's commission meeting.
I second the motion.
Getting ahead of myself. Is there any discussion? We'll now have a vote on the motion to approve today's agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The agenda is approved. Next item of business on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the March 13, 2025 Commission meeting.
I move for approval of the minutes from the March 13, 2025 commission meeting.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? I'll have a vote on the motion to approve the minutes from the March 13, 2025 Commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The Commission meeting minutes of March 13, 2025 are approved. The next item of business on the agenda is the approval of the minute action and orders on the consent agenda, and today the Commission is assisted by Staff Attorney Lisa Gold. Recognize Ms. Gold.
Good afternoon. Today's consent agenda consists of 1 communications matter and 2 electric matters. The proposed minute action and orders for these matters have been thoroughly vetted by the Commission's technical and legal staff and are ready for your approval.
Thank you, Ms. Gold. I move for the approval of the minute action and orders on the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the minute action and orders on the consent agenda. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The minute action and orders on the consent agenda are approved. Recognize Ms. Gold.
Item 4A1 is case number 21015, which involves an application filed by DTE Electric Company for a financing order approving the securitization of qualified costs. The order before you accepts DTE Electric Company's 3rd annual true-up report and authorizes tariffs reflecting the securitization charges after the true-up as reflected in the report and attachments.
I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21015.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? We will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21015 is approved. I recognize Ms. Gold.
Item 4A2 is case number U-21585, which involves an application filed by Consumers Energy Company requesting authority to increase its retail rates for the generation and distribution of electricity and for other regulatory relief. Staff member Kayla Gibbs will describe this order.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. On May 31st, 2024, in case number U-21585, Consumers Energy filed an application with the Commission to increase its retail electric rates, amend its electric rate schedules and rules governing the distribution and supply of energy, and request miscellaneous accounting authority. Consumers Energy requested authority to increase its retail electric rates by approximately $325 million, explaining that the requested rate increase encompasses investments to improve reliability and resiliency of the distribution system through key objectives outlined in the Electric Distribution Infrastructure and Investment Plan, what the company has identified as the Reliability Roadmap, to support electric utility generation, to comply with safety and legal requirements, to implement technology, to support the company's fleet and facilities, and to implement operations and maintenance. Additional requests include investing in the company's demand response programs, approving transportation electrification programs and enhancements, adjusting rate design and tariffs, implementing other mechanisms and surcharges, and recovering amortization expenses. In addition, Consumers Energy proposed a return on equity of 10.25% and a capital structure of 49.25% debt and 50.75% equity. The record in this case consists of testimony from 75 witnesses contained within 3,911 pages of public and confidential transcripts and 689 exhibits. 25 parties participated in this proceeding, including the Attorney General, Michigan Public Service Commission staff, Michigan Cable Telecommunications Association, Citizens Utility Board, Michigan Environmental Council, the National Resource Defense Council, and Sierra Club, the Ecology Center, the Environmental Law and Policy Center, the Union of Concerned Scientists, and Vote Solar, Energy Michigan, the Foundry Association of Michigan, the Michigan Energy Innovation Business Council, the Institute for Energy Innovation, and Advanced Energy United, Urban Core Collective, Michigan Electric Transmission Company, Michigan Municipal Association for Utility Issues, Association of Businesses Advocating Tariff Equity, Michigan State Utility Workers Council, Great Lakes Renewable Energy Association, Hemlock Semiconductor Corporation, the Kroger Company, and Walmart Incorporation. The order before you provides decisions and guidance in several areas, a few of which are highlighted here. First, the Commission approved a number of investments to enhance safety and reliability for customers, including approving in full the company's $125 million in forestry expenses, while also directing the company to consider the benefits of shifting to a 4-year fixed tree trimming cycle based on the findings of its formal optimization analysis of line clearing cycles into its forestry line clearing operations and maintenance spending proposal in its next rate case. Investments in the low voltage distribution, or LVD, repetitive outages subprograms aimed at reducing frequent customer outages measured by the percentage of customers experiencing multiple outages. In 2023, 10.7% of consumer customers experienced 4 or more outages a year. This LVD subprogram is designed to reduce this number of customers experiencing 4 or more outages to below 6% as outlined in the Commission's Service Quality Rule standards. High voltage distribution investments to proactively improve grid reliability by reducing system average interruption duration index through capacity upgrade, new tools and technologies, and demand and customer-driven investments. Investments in operational system modernization to quickly detect and locate where faults are on the system, then automatically reroute power, isolating issues to minimize the number of customers impacted. The Commission approved alignment of the investment recovery mechanism's year 2 cost with the test year, in this case for a total of $86,347,000, of which $68,532,000 are designated for LVD lines reliability, $12,623,000 are designated for resiliency, and $5,201,000 are designated for system protection. The Commission accepted the company's environmental justice resiliency plan and provided guidance to include a regression analysis in future electric rate cases and distribution plan cases, including a regression analysis that incorporates information beyond reliability metrics. The order directs the company in its next electric rate case to provide a business case informed by robust engagement with interested parties for its distributed energy resource management system, which should include a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis to justify the program's costs and benefits to customers. The order adopts enhancements related to the company's transportation electrification program, including the utilization of the North American Charging Standard, expanding rebate solutions for income qualified residential customers, allowing residential referral credits for new enrollees, given the customer ability to choose between a rebate check or bill credit, and utilizing remaining funds from the Power My Fleet pilot for the income qualified enhanced rebate program for fleets. In regards to rebate funding for battery integrated direct current fast charging, or DCFC, the Commission encourages the company to consider the benefits of battery integration as it relates to interconnection and distribution costs, and to only allow rebates when benefits of installing a battery at a DCFC outweigh the cost. In the company's next electric rate case, the Commission directs the company to identify equipment needed for distributed energy resources that have a long lead time for procurement, and to propose a plan for maintaining adequate inventory for future development. Recognizing growing concerns surrounding changing weather patterns and extreme weather conditions, the Commission finds modifications to current extreme weather policies be explored comprehensively in case number U-20140 for all electric and natural gas utilities. The order before you adopts a capital structure of 50% equity and 50% debt with a rate of return on common equity of 9.9%. The Commission approved a short-term debt rate of 4.28% and a long-term debt rate of 4.25%, with an overall weighted cost of capital of 5.97%. The order before you authorizes Consumers Energy to implement rates that increase its annual electric revenue by $153 million, $153,809,000 over the rates approved in case number U-21389. Consumers Energy is authorized to implement the rates approved in this order on or after April 4th of 2025. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Ms. Gibbs. I move for the approval of the order in case number U-21585.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion?
Thanks,
Commissioner
Chair.
Carrion?
Great. I want to begin by extending my thanks to all interveners whose participation, testimony, and exhibits have strengthened the outcome of this case, including our truly expert staff. Thanks also to our MPSC advisors, attorneys, and the administrative law judge for this case, Sally Wallace, for their dedicated and diligent work ensuring our thorough review and processing of this case and all our cases. As Ms. Gibbs described, this order before us approves investments that the company has proposed for the safety, accessibility, and reliability of service to its electric customers, with numerous embedded goals, including better reliability and resiliency of its distribution system. Our work at the Commission is to ensure these investments serve the public interest by balancing necessary expenditures with reasonable rates. In this regard, I'd like to focus my comments on 3 areas: cautioning against leaving certain company practices unchecked, reinforcing the value of parallel proceedings for strategic planning, and emphasizing the need to refine analyses addressing energy equity and the concerns of environmental justice or EJ communities. First, as we have stated in past cases, including the recent January order for DTE Electric's rate case, utility capitalization policies are an ongoing concern for the Commission, and they warrant further investigation, particularly in cases where operations and maintenance investments may provide a more cost-effective approach than capital investments to ensuring the reliability performance the company seeks to achieve. The recently completed audit of the distribution systems of both Consumers and DTE Electric also point to the need for careful scrutiny of capital versus O&M expenditures. The Commission will be announcing steps to evaluate these capitalization practices in a future proceeding. As with all its proposed investments, if the company seeks cost recovery in rates, it must meet its burden of justifying program costs with sufficient evidence on the record, and this includes appropriately justifying new allocation of resources between programs when this information is requested. As a reminder to the company, any relabeling or recategorizing of program funds and applications cannot be done with the expectation of presuming automatic reasonableness and prudence of costs. Recategorizing or relabeling prior spending categories or shifting program funds without traceability impedes the evaluation of cost expenditures, of which there are multiple examples throughout the record in this case. Relabeling or recategorizing capital expenditures from one program or tracking method to another does not provide sufficient evidence to demonstrate the reasonableness and prudence of costs, nor the benefits of program expenditures. In fact, one benefit to the investment recovery mechanism, or IRM, we approved that is not available for approved rate-based expenditures is that the IRM funds cannot be moved by the company to other cost categories at will. With the company's last electric rate case order, the Commission approved an IRM for certain distribution investments subject to reevaluation for any extension approval via IRM planning meetings. This review of whether the IRM should continue will consider how concerns raised by interveners are addressed and whether benefits outweigh concerns, including criteria such as whether investments are being deployed equitably, whether investments exacerbate or perpetuate racial or socioeconomic disparities in service, and whether there has been a positive impact on reliability and resilience. Second, I want to highlight the importance of existing forums and proceedings that provide structured opportunities for planning and collaboration outside of time-bound rate cases. These proceedings include the company's distribution plan, transportation electrification plan, and other tool development proceedings such as the benefit cost analysis toolkit docket, and even monitoring the rate case process improvement docket, all dockets we cite in the order in addition to other key regulatory proceedings such as IRPs or renewable energy plans. Proper and coordinated use of these proceedings not only stands to improve the quality of data submitted to the record to aid in decision-making, but also fosters transparency and generates depth and breadth of engagement with interested parties and persons. The Commission expects consumers to leverage these avenues to gather data, address intervener concerns, and enhance planning alignment, and I would like to acknowledge the company's proper use of its reliability roadmap to this effect in this case. And ensuring investments allow for equitable distribution of benefits to customers leads me to my last point, that while the Commission recognizes the progress the company has made in addressing environmental justice concerns, we emphasize that more work remains. We accept the company's EJ resiliency plan, as Ms. Gibbs explained, and expect to see a more detailed version with specific proposed investments in the company's next electric rate case. As Ms. Gibbs explained, we also direct the company to include a relevant regression analysis in future electric rate cases and distribution planning cases. The regression analysis should incorporate information that goes beyond reliability, including data on residential disconnections. Finally, the Commission also requests that the company evaluate how it executes storm response measures within its EJ framework and analyze any disproportionate impacts of outages on EJ communities. When it comes to topics related to affordability, I do want to make sure to elevate the work of the Energy Affordability and Accessibility Collaborative and its Affordability Alignment and Assistance Subcommittee, whose work includes reviewing programs related to customer credit and percent income payment plan programs, among many effective interventions. And ultimately, the work of this subcommittee and numerous other collaborators and parties across the state can help the Commission assess customer-facing options to enhance affordability in a holistic manner that benefits customers equitably. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Carrion. Is there additional discussion?
Yes, thanks, Chair. I would also just like to thank our fantastic staff at the MPSC for their hard work on this case, and thank the 25 different interveners who provided thoughtful and valuable testimony, giving the Commission a fuller record from which to make our decision. The varied perspectives brought by all of these parties really do aid us in making the right decisions for Michigan customers. And I would also like to acknowledge the invaluable work of ALJ Sally Wallace on this case. Consumers Energy put forward many real solutions for increasing system reliability and modernizing our electric grid in this case. And today I'm glad that in the order before us, there are investments supporting safety, investments in new beneficial technologies to help operators quickly locate faults on the distribution system and then isolate those faults to minimize disruption to other customers, and investments in consumers' transportation electrification plan, focusing on unserved markets and standardization. I'm encouraged to see Consumers Energy's aim at investments in the low voltage distribution category at the customers who are experiencing the most outages and target improvements where they are most needed. But in multiple places in this case, the company did not make it easy for us, for our staff, or for interveners to trace some of their proposed investments or track historical investments. The company recategorized and renamed their spending, moving it in and out of different program areas, which made it very difficult for us to understand total investments for particular projects compared to the expected benefits for customers. We have 10-month deadlines to make a final decision in these highly complex, highly important, and impactful rate cases. It's crucial that the company provides clear, traceable requests for revenue so the Commission can make decisions that are in the best interest of customers. I also want to highlight that the order before us contains a limited approval for continuation of a 2-year investment recovery mechanism, or IRM, as both Commissioner Carrion and Ms. Gibbs already noted. We approved this for the first time in the last rate case as a way to restrict and ensure proactive spending on projects that are obviously and definitively beneficial. In this case, that was low voltage distribution line reliability, resilience, and system protection. While we are approving continuation that's in the order before us, it's important that we understand how the IRM reconciliation process will work in practice before we consider expansion of further continuation into future years. While the investments included are highly supported, I want to ensure that the public and other interveners have a sufficient opportunity to engage before expanding the IRM. And I want to complete a reconciliation process and see for a fact that there's enough confidence in the outcome for these investments. I'd like to address the importance of investment in basic fundamental tree trimming as well. Consumers Energy's own study showed that a shorter 4-year tree trimming cycle is cheapest for customers, yet they're still planning for a 7-year cycle. I expect to see a better plan in their next rate case that reflects these findings. And then finally, I would just like to note that several intervening parties in this case, including our staff, have expressed concern over the company's capitalization policies and practices, as also noted by Commissioner Carrion. I believe this warrants further investigation. And next steps in evaluating utility capitalization policies will be coming in a separate proceeding soon.
Thank you, Commissioner Paratek. Just a few words from me as well before we move on to the vote. So again, today's order approves $153.8 million in additional revenue for Consumers Energy. It's about 60% of the company's revised ask after costs associated with some of its proposed solar projects were removed from this case, and those costs will be reviewed as part of the company's ongoing renewable energy plan case. For an average residential customer, the increase included in today's order would result in an increase of about $2.78 each month, or 2.79% on a customer's bill. And for comparison, the most recent data shows the U.S. inflation rate was 2.8%. Included in the order, as noted by Ms. Gibbs and both of my colleagues, are a number of specific investments focused on improving reliability, including fully funding the $125 million proposed by the company for tree trimming and vegetation management, as well as a number of other elements highlighted by Ms. Gibbs, including significant increases in low voltage distribution capital expenditures. I want to echo Commissioner Carrion's comments about our appreciation for how the specific investments were tied to the company's distribution plan, or what they call their reliability roadmap. Having that additional context to inform the evaluation of the specific investments was helpful. As we go forward, I think the strategy around how to continue to make improvements on reliability will need to be connected both to the distribution plan reflected in rate cases, but also connected to the recently completed utility audit that was issued in September, and which we've received the company's feedback as well as comments from a number of individuals, and are working to finalize guidance in that case as well. And that will include trade-offs between CapEx and forestry, as noted by my colleagues, including better consideration of the benefits of accelerating the company's vegetation management efforts to that 4-year fixed tree trimming cycle that was found to be the optimal cycle length by the company's own analysis. The goal here, and I think it's a goal that we share, is to get the most improvement the most cost effectively. And I think having alignment on that strategy will also help to inform further extension or expansion of the IRM as well. On the IRM, at the company's suggestion, we are also, as Commissioner Carrion noted, ring fencing that strategic capital approved in this case within the company's existing investment recovery mechanism. And as a result, the IRM increases from $49.3 million last year to $86.3 million, including the investments approved in this case. This will help ensure that the capital approved for specific reliability initiatives will not be diverted to other purposes, even other worthy purposes, which has been an issue in the past and continues to be an issue for other utilities. In addition, if those dollars are not spent, they'll be refunded to customers. So our focus here is on reliability. The dollars for strategic capital are focused on reliability, and these dollars need to be spent on reliability, and I appreciate the company's initiative in bringing forward this proposal. And finally, I want to echo my colleagues' thanks to our staff, to our administrative law judge, to our advisors and our attorneys, to the company and the intervening parties for the work that's gone into being able to meet, again, a strenuous 10-month statutory deadline. And with that, we will now have a vote on the motion to approve the order. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The order in case number U-21585 is approved. We've now reached the time reserved for members of the public to address the commission. As mentioned in the notice for today's meeting, we will take public comments in the following order. First, from individuals attending in person, and then from individuals participating remotely, either through Microsoft Teams or the phone who have entered the speaker queue. As a reminder, this public comment period is for commissioners to listen to comments and concerns and not to answer specific questions. When providing comment, please do indicate your name and where you live if you're willing to share, so we have that for our records. And again, please limit comments to one per person and keep them brief, no longer than 3 minutes, so that we have a chance to hear from all who would like to comment. We do have 2 comment cards in that have been submitted so far today. And so first, I'm going to invite Doug Bontico to come up and welcome back, sir. Did I get closer on the name today? Excellent. The person who follows you will tell you that I struggled with hers as well, but eventually got there. So
I've heard my name slaughtered in many ways, so I'm accustomed. Yes, hello, my name is Doug Bontico. I am the Marion Township Supervisor from Osceola County. I am here looking for an official determination on whether intrastate gas fields are unitized in Michigan. Robert Mervin from Consumers Energy sent me a letter stating that gas storage fields are not pooled or unitized. Mark Snow with Eagle informed me that there is no official designation at this time, and it would be a FERC determination. I contacted FERC. They informed me that all FERC storage fields are unitized, and they would contact Consumers Energy. Rachel Moore with Consumers Energy responded that FERC has no jurisdiction over Consumers gas fields. I have received all of the MPS board agendas since 2007, and I have not found any place where Consumers Energy has requested to have it ununitized. When Consumers applies to drill a well in a storage field, they list the unit area as just storage field. Under 324.61701, letter F, unit area means formation or formations that are unitized and surface acreage that is part of the unitized land. This would lead me to believe that when Consumers and the Supervisor of Wells approves drilling, they're approving it under a unitized basis. I believe it would be in the public's interest to have an official designation on record to prevent further court costs and wasted time in other courts to make this determination. I have reviewed a majority of the lease agreements in 5 of the storage fields. In several of the storage fields, I have found contracts that could exist a hole in the field if the well is closed and the field is not officially unitized or pooled. Under part 324.61703, it states that on how to apply to have a field leased or have an official unitization designation, but that's only for a leasee. There is no clear path for how a leaseor can have property unitized. So I'm here requesting the commission to look in some clarification and contact the Supervisor of Wells, or if I need to file the appropriate paperwork, just if you can point me in the direction, that's what I'd like. Thanks very much.
thank you, sir. Up next, we have Val Wolscheid-Brennan. Got nervous after bragging that I had finally mastered your name, that I would screw it up again. So
You
welcome
got it.
back.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Val Wilshire-Brennan, and I am here today regarding ITC Metsy's Nelson to Oneida project, case U21471. ITC's proposed route unnecessarily condemns 8 miles of the community by not utilizing an available transmission corridor that was identified as a feasible alternative route and already purchased by Michigan's ratepayers. Following existing right-of-ways is not the only best practice disregarded in the Nelson to Oneida project. I'd like to use ITC Metsy's sister company, ITC Midwest, as an example to show what best practices in good public service looks like. ITC Midwest is constructing a 345 kV MISO Tranche 1 project in Iowa. I created an infographic for you today comparing the ITC Midwest project to the ITC Metsy Oneida project with the information that was submitted to each state's commissions. So starting first, best practice number 1. ITC Midwest prioritized siting in existing right-of-ways, roads, railroads, and divisions of land. This inherently minimizes impacts and reduces the right-of-way needed. ITC Metsy did not put a priority on these siting opportunities. Number 2, ITC Midwest determines the final route after landowner negotiations. On the contrary, Metsy determines the route without landowner negotiations, and even worse, they do not have a formal process to provide landowners feedback. This defies MPSC Rule 431, which encourages parties to enter into settlements when possible. A settlement is not possible when Metsy won't negotiate. This makes the Commission's role critically important. Number 3, ITC Midwest follows fence lines and land divisions. This minimizes impact on land use and damage to a single owner. Metsy, however, designed most of the Nelson to Oneida route either through the center of parcels or approximately 25 feet from property lines, as shown in the example, which takes 225 feet rather than 200. This is called damage to the remainder, and it matters to the commission because ratepayers have to pay for this damage. This poor design unnecessarily drives up the cost of 40 miles of land acquisition. Number 4, ITC Midwest offers a reduced 110-foot easement along the road right-of-way. This reduces land acquisition, right-of-way maintenance costs, damage to the land use, and provides easy access for maintenance. Metsy does not offer this option or even consider it in their design when feasible. Metsy goes to the extreme of stating 345 kV design is too complex to consider utilizing a road right-of-way. It's funny how their sister company proves this to be untrue in both Iowa and Wisconsin. Number 5, ITC Midwest pays easements at 100% of $13,210 an acre. Metsy offers easements at 30% of $7,000 an acre. This equals $2,100 an acre. Think about that for just a minute because it is almost unbelievable. We haven't been able to buy land in Clinton County for $2,100 an acre for over 30 years. Finally, number 6, ITC Midwest has a proud track record of working with landowners and achieving 99% voluntary easements, while Metsy has one voluntary easement on the Nelson to Oneida project, representing 0.005% of the project. This just speaks volumes about how unfairly Metsy is treating Michiganders. So to conclude, my purpose of showing these examples today is to advocate for best practices and equality here in Michigan. One thing that is becoming alarmingly clear to me is that we need PA 30 transmission siting reform here in Michigan, not just to protect landowners, but to protect Michigan's ratepayers. ITC Metsy has no competition to build these projects, so they are operating under self-serving practices. I'm asking the commission to set a better path forward for the future by following industry best practices, prioritizing existing corridors, and ensuring Metsy is operating in the best interest of landowners and ratepayers. The more time they spend following good practices and engaging with landowners, the less time the MPSC spends litigating. Thank you for your time today. On a separate note, I enjoyed your podcast. I look forward to the next one. Thank you.
Flattery will get you nowhere. Thank you for being here today. Is there anybody else attending in person who would like to provide public comment? Okay. I do know that we have one person participating virtually, I think via the Teams application. So Anna Harris. Harris, it looks like you've unmuted yourself, but I can't hear you yet. Try one more time. Harris, we would love to hear from you, but looks like we're having some technical difficulties making the connection. Maybe if you can leave the meeting and rejoin, sometimes that helps. I'm the last person that should be giving IT advice, but we could try that. We'll hold off for a couple minutes before closing. Ms. Harris, if you want to maybe try and unmute again. But another 30 seconds and see if she can rejoin. Okay, we'll continue to look, and if she does rejoin and raise her hand again, we'll go back to her. Would also just remind folks that you can continue to submit comments to commissioners via email at lara-mpsc-commissioners@michigan.gov. And we'll also have another public meeting in a little less than 3 weeks on April 10th. And so we'll make sure that we have public comment there, as we always do as well. But we'll keep looking to see if Ms. Harris is able to rejoin, and but otherwise we'll close public comment at this time. And do have a couple of announcements. Commissioner Carrion, I think you have one as well.
I do. Thank you, Chair. I think it's always good and important to celebrate accomplishments as they occur and make sure we recognize the efforts that led to those accomplishments. So without further ado, on Tuesday of this week, the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy, or ACEEE, released its biannual State Energy Efficiency Scorecard. And wouldn't you know, the ACEEE scorecard ranks Michigan at the top nationally for utility and public benefits programs. We were also first in the country for natural gas savings as a percentage of retail sales, and second for electricity savings. The report also found that our state energy waste reduction programs achieve these excellent results more cost effectively than other leading states who spent more but achieved lower savings. And importantly, we also ranked high for the percentage of funds focused on energy efficiency programming for low-income customers to ensure that all customers in our state can share in the benefits from energy efficiency. And so finally, I want to echo the thanks and recognition that Chair Scripps also shared internally across the MPSC earlier this week via email for Karen Gould and the entire energy optimization section on staff at the MPSC, who helped lead our state not only to these deserved rankings this week, but who continuously serve the public by keeping energy waste reduction and energy optimization as one of the core strengths of our energy system in Michigan. And so the team members include Brad Banks, Shannon Hartman, Tim Johnson, Joseph Reese, Katie Smith, Fazan Tawana, Dave Walker, and Elizabeth Yeager. Thank you all and fantastic job.
Certainly echo that. Any announcements from you? Okay. Just a couple on my end. First, Yesterday was the deadline for proposals under the Renewable Energy and Electrification Infrastructure Enhancement and Development Grants Program, or the Renewable Energy EIED. This was established under Public Act 121 of 2024, and it provides an opportunity for businesses, nonprofit organizations, units of both local and state government, as well as tribal governments, to propose projects connected to the planning, development, design, acquisition, or construction of renewable energy and electrification infrastructure projects. This can include electrification technologies, renewable energy systems, waste heat to energy systems, combined heat and power, including using wastewater treatment biogas, electric vehicle charging infrastructure, renewable natural gas facilities, and other projects related to renewable energy and electrification infrastructure. So again, the deadline was yesterday, but that's only one step in the process. As part of the process outlined in statute, we'll provide an opportunity for a review of all applications of the grant. And so next week, we'll post unredacted versions of the applications received, and then open a 45-day review period, followed by a 15-day period in which the applicant has the opportunity to modify their proposal if they so choose. So the final deadline for revised or modified proposals will be at the end of May 27th, and we'll move forward after that. But again, we'll have additional details next week, and just wanted to make sure that we were providing as much transparency around the process as possible. Second, as we've previously noted, Michigan is getting a new area code 679, which will cover the current area that will cover the current 313 area code that includes Detroit and several of its closest suburbs. As an important note, current 313 area code customers will not have to change their phone number and will be able to keep the 313 area code. I know that's been a concern. Instead, this new 679 area code applies to phone lines issued once the 313 area code numbers are exhausted, and that could happen as early as this November. And so when that the new area code, the 679 area code, goes into effect, all local calls within the 313 area code will require 10-digit dialing, or including an area code with each call. And so to prepare phone customers for these new requirements, a 6-month permissive dialing period will begin on April 7th to give customers time to get used to the new dialing requirement. And during this period, local calls can be made with either 7 or 10 digits, and all calls that are local will continue to be local, even though you dial 10 digits. Note that what is a local call now will remain a local call, and the price of a call, coverage area, or other rates and services will not change due to this new overlay. And then finally, a number of the pieces of equipment, including safety and security equipment like medical alert devices and alarms and security systems, will need to be programmed to use 10-digit dialing. Most of these systems already do this by default, but some older equipment may use 7 digits. And so if you have concerns, you should contact your medical alert or security provider to see if your equipment needs to be reprogrammed. And finally, and this is certainly a little bittersweet, but I want to wish Nate Bernand the very best as he leaves the commission for a new role with the Georgetown Climate Center, which is part of the Georgetown University Law Center. Over the last several years, Nate has run point on the commission's efforts to leverage federal funding under both the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the Inflation Reduction Act. And perhaps more than any other individual in state government, Nate is responsible for Michigan leveraging more of this funding for energy and telecommunications than any other state in the country. In total, Michigan's utilities received $292 million in federal awards, and that will lead to $417 million in needed grid investments. Our utilities were also awarded more than $14 billion in federal loans to bring down costs connected to natural gas main pipeline replacements and wind and solar projects. And those grant awards are still pending, but when finalized, they will save utility customers tens of millions of dollars just in the cost of financing for these projects. So I want to thank Nate for his leadership and his efforts and his many achievements with the commission, and offer him our very best wishes in his next steps as his career unfolds from here. With that, I think we're at the end. So as a reminder, the next commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 10, 2025 at 1:00 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn today's meeting.
I second the motion.
We will now have a vote on the motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries by a unanimous vote. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.